Taisi, Panuku, Tisha and Alan. And this is Hobsonville Point, 20 hectares, future land use. Over to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. This is a procedural item. It's confirming the previous resolution of the Auckland Development Committee and enabling the 14.6 Master Plan for Hobsonville to be implemented. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Happy to move. Councillor Close, seconded. Councillor Cashmore. Any questions, comments? We covered this at the ADC meeting. Right, all those in favour?
Right.
Against? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam
for
Chair.
attending. Always nice to see you too. It's always quick. Right, moving on to item number 12, councillors, bi-monthly business improvement and performance report, and we have our building. Do I see Ian? Yep. Great. Welcome. Hello.
Madam Chair, councillors, I do have a presentation. Oh, there it is. It's great.
There it is.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to update you on building construction activity in Auckland and how the Building Control Department and other parts of the Auckland Council are performing to date. I'm accompanied today by Sally Gray, who is the Manager of Weather Tightness and Compliance. And I'm aware that you've all received a copy of the presentation that we're delivering today. I just thought I'd better advise you that I've changed the order a little bit just to aid delivery, and I've also added in some photographs of some of the sorts of issues that we're dealing with, just to, I suppose, underpin how significant some of them are. So what we're looking at covering off is briefly look at industry activity. What sort of levels of pickup are we seeing at the moment? We'll look at our performance, looking at some of our key indicators. We'll look at some of the challenges we're facing in our current operating environment. We'll look at what we're currently doing about it and what we're intending to do, additional initiatives, and then finally initiatives to cope with increased sector activity. Over to you, Sally.
Thank you, everyone. You'll see our current year we've got in red and previous year in blue. We're up in building consents by 12% through to the end of March. 17,335 consents to date.
Wow.
And in inspections, we're up by 9% year on year. We're currently at 102,303 inspections, up on 92,000 from last year. By the end of this financial year, we expect to have completed 130,000 inspections. Clearly, with that kind of increase, we're pretty busy down in building control. Over the next 12 months in the inspection space, we should see this rise by another 4 or 5% to be hitting about a 14 to 15% increase. Point to note as well, we're still seeing a lot of failed inspections, and we've got, through February, 26% of inspections were failed, either because the work was non-compliant or it wasn't ready for an inspection. Here it will show that we have been slipping a little bit in our performance for issuing consents within the 20 statutory days. It's a reflection of the volume. Over the next 2 months, we expect to be back to where we ought to be, and already for the first week in April, we're back at 95%, and we expect that to continue trending upwards. CCCs, we had a wee drop in February, but we're back at 97% in February, and in March, and the first week in April, we're back at 98.4%. So, considering the volume we have going through, we're pretty comfortable with that. Covering off challenges in our current operating environment, I'll deal with the first two, the elevating threshold of our duty of care and also non-compliant products and product substitution. You know, I've been in front of this committee before talking about the claim side of it and the direction from the courts around our duty of care. For more than 30 years, councils have owed a duty to take reasonable care to owners during the construction process at both consent, inspection and co-compliance stages. At building consent stage, to satisfy that duty, council must be satisfied on reasonable grounds that if the building work was properly completed in accordance with those plans and specifications, it would meet the building code. In the Fleetwood apartment decision, Justice Fotter considered that the council could not be reasonably satisfied in the absence of detailed design at that consent stage, and Nautilus was on a larger scale but similar. You know, there's a cost and time implication of providing that level of detail at consent stage. So we're getting a strong direction from the courts to take more care, to get more detail, to require the industry to have a more final solution at consent stage. In Auckland, the general desire is for more housing, it to be delivered more quickly and more cheaply. And this direction from the courts to take that duty to a higher level in the face of more building needed more quickly and more cheaply creates quite a tension for us in building control. And it means that we're constantly having to balance our delivery. It does cause some feedback when we ask for more detailed design, but we have to do it now because if the building goes wrong, everyone looks back to the council. Challenges around non-compliant products and product substitution. There's been a lot in the news on this, particularly in the structural steel space. The area I want to cover is on the cheaply imported product. We are seeing non-compliant product entering New Zealand because of in the face of limited border control. It's not always being picked up. Some of this product is made to look identical to product already certified for New Zealand use that's been appropriately tested. We have a wide range of products in New Zealand that are certified or tested that will perform in the New Zealand environment. This imported product might, but we don't know. So it is a constant battle to require testing, require evidence that it will perform, and we are working across the industry with the Building Industry Federation, the Construction Industry Council and MB to better understand the scale and scope of this issue on a broader scale as well, rather than just structural steel. We're also seeing significant issues with product substitution. This is happening when people or developers, builders, obtain a building consent using a product that has been authorised for use in New Zealand. On site, post the building consent being issued, this product has been substituted for a cheaper product. Again, it might perform, we don't know. The challenge for us is picking this up because often the product is made to look exactly like the product that is authorised for use here. We're seeing it in roof tiles, electrical cabling, waste pipe, toughened glass. We currently have 18 notices to fix issued for asphalt tile roofs where a certified product was consented and an uncertified product was used. These buildings will have their asphalt tiles removed and replaced with the appropriate product. The impact, if we don't, is not only in performance, but in some parts of Auckland, these roofs are used for harvesting potable water, and the potential for chemical leaching has health consequences. So it is a real focus for us. It may get to the point where we end up having to follow the provenance for some of these products right back to checking receipts to make sure they aren't being or just simply swapped out on site without our knowledge. And Ian will carry on and talk about some of the other initiatives we have on foot at the moment.
Thanks, Sally. So challenges around design and construction quality. So if we define quality as fit for purpose, be fair to say there's quite a wide sort of range in the quality of the building consent applications that we receive. Some are really, really high quality, some are not so good and require a lot of backwards and forwards between us and designers to fill in gaps around information that we need to be able to satisfy ourselves regarding compliance with the building code. It would be fair to say that my team is saying that they feel that that's increased proportionally to the volumes we're getting at the moment, and I believe that's a result of a design industry that's under pressure. And in some cases, the quality control steps that may have been taken previously, in some cases, may not be taken with the same degree of attention as perhaps was the case previously. That's resulting in a lack of efficiencies in the industry. It's loading up my resource, and it's certainly having an impact on the design industry at the moment. In the area of the on-site construction, we've certainly got continue to see some issues there. As Sally says, we're tracking anywhere up to 30% at the moment in terms of inspection failure rate. That's slightly down from what it was probably 3 or 4 months ago. I think one of the key things to recognise here is that constructing a building now is a complex collaboration of a large number of experts. The days when a principal builder would do all of the construction on that building has largely gone. These days we see a designer, we'll see a principal builder, and we'll probably see a range of different subcontractors who will put the foundations in, that will put the roof on, that will be doing the plumbing and drainage. And there's quite a significant amount of coordination involved in that. And certainly in the industry, the competent licensed building practitioners who are running those jobs are often heavily loaded up, and they're often using a resource which is less experienced than it was 3 or 4 years ago. And as a result, we're starting to see some quality control issues on site. And they are really beginning to impact. As Sally said, we're tracking on to complete something like probably 134,000 building inspections this year. Now that's a lot. 134,000 building inspections we'll be delivering here by Auckland Council. And if something like 30% of them are failing, that has a significant impact in my resource, and it's a limited one, and it also has a significant impact on the industry and how the industry operates. So it's definitely something that as an industry we really need to focus on. So what else have we got? At the moment we've made 3 complaints to the New Zealand Police regarding criminal matters that relate to fraud and false pretences. And one of those individuals has had information laid against him. Each of these cases are independent. They don't relate to one another. Each of them involve multiple instances of certainly what we consider to be fraud or false pretences. In terms of impact on my team, that is not just one investigation or 3 investigations we need to do. That is a whole series of investigations, because we end up having to go back looking at the work that an individual's done. And in some cases, 20 or 30 other jobs. We've had to bring in independent structural engineers to review designs to ensure that we're mitigating any risk associated with that type of behaviour. So the matters are before the court or are being investigated by the New Zealand Police, so I can't talk to more about that at the moment, but certainly it is disturbing. In terms of licensed building practitioner complaints, the latest update is I've got something like 40 complaints that we're in the process of pulling together for the licensed building practitioner board. I've got a full-time investigator, and that investigator is absolutely overloaded, so I'll be looking at getting another resource in to assist there. Such is the volume of work that's involved in actually pulling these investigations together. Every time we get a complaint relating to an LBP, again, we need to consider what does this negligence associated with this complaint, how can this particularly, what can it potentially mean for other work that this individual's been involved in? So it involves looking at other work that the person's been done. So when we start talking about the fact we've got 40 odd investigations that we're pulling together, we're not just talking about 40 cases, we're talking about an awful lot more than that. So we're really beginning to find things tough. We're working closely with the industry. It would be fair to say the industry is as disturbed about some of the sorts of things we're finding as we are. So we're working closely with IPENZ, with ACENZ, the Plumbing and Gasfitters and Drain Layers Board, the Architects Registration Board, certified builders, registered master builders, brands, and the Auckland Masonry Trades Association to come up with solutions, working collaboratively to address this. A lot of this is around awareness in terms of documentation and how they can better manage their own risk